Hi, and a warm welcome to the fifth interview in the Best is Yet to Come conversations. I have with me today a wonderful guest, Gina Kroezen, who is a health stylist working with holistic health, and she will get to tell that what everything that embodies being a health stylist. Gina is also an amazing community leader of a wonderful Facebook group called The Bigger Picture, where she has created a beautiful space for over thousands of entrepreneurs and people working with health and leadership and spirituality to share their message and to yeah to just collaborate and be and with that said, I am just so happy to introduce Gina and give you the word. Warm welcome, Gina, and you get to introduce yourself now better, and please let us know that what does it mean, health stylist, and where are you tuning in from?
Hello, Sana. Thank you so much for having me and for your beautiful introduction. I am living in Amsterdam and I call myself a health stylist because I work with different modalities and I'm a gut health therapist. I'm a holistic coach. I do stress counseling. I do functional medicine. I help people to get a better relationship with food, not just to learn eat healthier, but also, see food as something different than just nourishment, because our relationship with food is way deeper than just I don't like to eat or I want to eat a lot. It's, I always say when food becomes or is a problem, food is not a problem. So that's the thing. And because there is so many layers of stress and so many layers in every area of our being, and being a child who grew up with a lot of trauma, I finally created a working method that is looking at the bigger picture of all kinds of health challenges, so mostly unexplained health challenges or chronic health challenges. And from my own experience, I became an overperformer, an overachiever. I was always busy, always working, looking good from the outside. Everybody thought that I had it all together, and I was happy, busy, and just creating a nice life for myself. While I actually was bending backwards to get everything done at the expense of my own health. And that is actually um, what I would bring out as a message to people who just only doing everything right, just to do it right, so they don't fail, so they are being a perfect role model for their children or the most perfect wife or husband for their spouse, whatever it is, and at the same time going to the gym, eating right, all the tick off all the boxes the most perfect way possible, and then suddenly the body starts to talk a different language, and that's actually where I come in with my work. So I combined all those modalities because of my own experiences, and I studied them so I could be of help for those people who don't know where to find help or how to start to get out of this labyrinth.
That's beautiful. Love that the work that you do and that you are making it so that it's so interdisciplinary and affects everything. And it's not just one area that we have to look into. What is something that you would like recommend or give as a tips for someone who has it, like you said, like that maybe from the outside it doing the right things but not feeling well and not knowing where to start to get the answers that what is not right if it doesn't feel basically right for one.
Well, the first thing is actually to become very honest with yourself, look in the mirror and just dare to say out loud, I'm not feeling well. You know, because you have this way of coping with things, You have your identity built around it. And if you have to admit to the outer world that it's actually not going well, it's quite a big step. So to acknowledge that and to be honest in that area, to say, well, things need to change, it's a huge step to make. And then there is the next step is to find somebody who is willing to help you or is able to help you. Because where do you start? Because mostly it shows up in weight issues or in gut health issues or skin issues, sleeping issues. Mostly it's like in physical imbalances that show up the first, at least that's what we think. And so, and then I say, okay, if you notice that your body is constantly fighting you, because that's something that people say to me, that's also something that I experienced when I was young, that you feel like your body is constantly fighting you instead of looking at it the other way around. Like, why are you fighting your body? Why are you fighting yourself so hard? And that piece needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah. Um, what would you say to anyone? Because there's so much information, there's so many different ways to try, and there's like this, try this and try that, and then that it can be like overwhelming to know where to even start and what is like the right thing for one specifically. That what would be your like thought about that, and what would you say?
Yeah, it's also very hard to give one answer to that because everybody is, made differently and everybody's experience is differently. So if I come from my own experiences, I was struggling with gut health issues, but I also had migraines. I had sleep deprivation. I was not a real bad depression, but I was having these mood swings. I was just not happy. So if you with the knowledge that I now have and the experiences, of all these years, I can tell you that I know that it's working both ways. So if your body is not aligned and you're mentally emotional not in balance, it's feeding each other. So I can tell to a person, okay, you have an IBS, you have to skip these foods or you have to eat this and you eat that, but you don't fix the problem with that. And so it's always customized, it's always personal. So if somebody has struggles with something, for one person, it's good to test the gut, to do a stool test, do a blood test. Um, and for another person, it's just first start conversations and see what's underneath it all. So it depends completely on the person. Where are their high needs first to be addressed?
I love that you take that up, the individuality, because I think a lot of people think that first they like maybe struggle alone, and I had also with my own like health issues or just health healing journey, that thinking that something is wrong because something is not working for me, when it was about finding the things that was working for me. And that it's, I think, so important that what you mentioned, that to just know that we are individual and to keep on finding the trying different things, and getting the help that is, that everyone has someone, a solution, and someone that can help.
Yeah, and I also think it's overrated to say to everybody, well, just adjust your food and make sure your diet is in order, because also that is very individual. And and this is part of one of my basic things that I use in my consultations is that okay, food is of course important, you know, but how are the other pillars? How are you sleeping? How is your mental, emotional balance? How are your food intervals? How is your digestion going? There is so much more to that because if you have, I call it 5 a day, and if one of those pillars is not in aligned, it affects all the other parts. And that's affecting your hormones, your neurotransmission, your everything. So it's like a web of things that needs one thing needs to get out to get the others aligned as well. So it's like it's the labyrinth where you can see yourself in mentally, emotionally, physically. How do you get out of that? Where do you start? So it's very important to have a good conversation first.
Yeah, absolutely. What was areas that you had that you came to understand that you were not taking care of? That you mentioned that certain ways you were very disciplined and took care of yourself, but what were the areas that you understood that you need to take care of, do better to get that holistic health for yourself?
Yeah, this is really when I was very young. My mom left when I was 8, so I was left with my dad and my brother. And because of that, of course, there was a lot of trauma and a lot of things happened afterwards. And by the age of 10, I got really serious struggling with eating. I had always, my gut health was always an issue. I was a premature baby, so my immunity and my gut was always a problem. But because of the trauma, it became worse. All of the stress, and I had no appetite anymore. I felt, different. I was, this young lady, this young upgrowing girl that was 10, 12 years old without a mom. I was living with my brother and my dad. And so everything became a challenge. Even when I got my first period, I needed to tell it to my dad. So it was my place of being a woman in this family system that I was in. That was like I was ashamed of. I was compromising it. It was all these facets, and of course also the shame of my mom that was not there. So it was more mentally and emotionally than there was physically something wrong. But that was something that was going on for so many years. And then you grow up into being at 18, 19, 20, your first relationship, also those things who didn't work out right. So the voices in your head start telling you something is really wrong with you because nothing is working. And also, I could not eat anymore. I stopped eating. I became an anorexic. And one thing led to another. So I got migraines. I got all kinds of stuff. And then by the end of early 30s, 31, I was so sick that I got a viral infection on my lungs, and I nearly died of that. And then looking back at all these years before, I was so neglecting my own needs. I was denying my own needs. I was only working. If I was not working, I was studying. So it's always on. Could not sleep. I was sleeping 5 hours a night. And when I was not sleeping, I was always busy. So that was the thing that was obvious. But what was underneath that? So that needs to be peeled off. And after that viral infection on my lungs, I found out, well, the doctors always said it was something I needed to learn to live with. It was stress, and it was all between my ears. And I was like, well, if it's stress, I don't have anything to work on because this is how my life is built. This is the situation I got myself into with my family. How do I get out of this? So, and then I started to see a psychologist, and she did some tests with me, and we found out was suffering from PTSD. So there was nothing wrong with me. My body was actually doing exactly what it needed to do to protect me. But from there, I started to find out, okay, what is stress? What does stress do to our body? Because it's not something that is between your ears only, but it's the reaction of your biology, of your physiology. So your body is responding to everything that's going on. And why are you in this stress mode? So there is so much more to stress than just the word stress, because food can be stress, sleep can be stress, your environment can be. There's so many different stressors, and if you have a lot of them, you're constantly in stress.
Mm. Yeah. Uh, Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that you mentioned that uh, part of now. Oh my goodness, I am gonna get back to it because now I forgot like what it exactly was. uh, but no, yeah, now I remember. Just the fact that I loved when you said that your body was all the time doing the right thing, even if it was like not like you were not feeling well and you felt the stress, but that the body was actually doing exactly what it was supposed to, like showing the symptoms of it all the time. And that one I wanted to highlight just because we can then get so like spiraled with that, oh my God, when it's like a chance to stop and go and like you said, and
But
go
it's
and get
also,
help. Mm.
yeah, but a lot of people are not aware of it, you know. It's like, and I hadn't also back then, and even while I was working in health already for many years, I became a sports masseur, I was a massage therapist, I did all this work in health environments. So I was aware of a lot of health struggles, and I was not blunt in the, is it the right word, blunt? I was,
Uh, yes, yes, in
yeah,
that way that yeah,
yeah,
you recognize it. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was like, um, but it's part of the denying your needs, you know, if you're not in how do you say this, part of the situation I was in, the identity I was in, I did not need anything. I was denying my own needs so I could do everything on my own with less as possible, so I had nothing to lose. So that made me invisible. It made me how do you say this, I could rely fully on myself. I could rely on less than a lot. You know, there were little things that I needed to keep on going. So it's of course a great survival skill, but it's not the way you want to live your life. And if you're living your life like that, as if it's your blueprint, it costs you everything. It costs your health. It costs your, well, you know, it's not a way you can um, ever be happy.
Mm. Yeah, true. Because you mentioned the word survival many times. So if that was like initially how you felt like you were surviving all the time, but not knowing how to enjoy and relax it, then
You're not even thinking about that because,
yeah.
you know, I was born in this situation. I was growing up in this situation, and there was also this part of you that is loyal to the family system that you're in. So you're also like grateful that you have that what you're having. So it's like, yeah, it's a very complex situation at that time. You know, one thing it says you want to get out, you want to feel better, and on the other hand, there is no exit. You cannot find the exit.
Mm. Is there also that when you think back, do you believe that there was also this that you knew nothing better, that you didn't think that there was anything better to look forward to?
You, I did. I that was my biggest challenge because I promised myself that I would make sure my life would get better. And because at a very young age, I was really very much aware of that the situation I was growing up in was not healthy. It was not doing any good for me. So, but what I said, you know, you're in this contradiction because it's one
Mm.
hand your family, and the other hand you want to choose differently, but then you become sort of betrayer, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So first you have to overcome that battle with yourself.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that that is kind of what the patterns that we have built, and then the only thing that we know and how to be, and then there is still that yearning, like you said, that but you had that that you knew that there was better. You did know that. Did you
Yeah, I
believe
was.
that for yourself
Yeah,
though?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there was a time in my life that even the teacher at my school when I was 10 years old told my dad that nothing good would ever come out of me. And my dad shared that with me, and he was so hurt by that.
Mm.
And I never will forget my dad's face when he told me that. So I was like, well, I'm going to make sure you will be proud of me. So that was
Oh.
one thing. And then the next thing, when I grew up, I became older, I was like, of course I'm going to make something out of my life. Of course I'm
Mm.
going to do this.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You have had the fire with you since you were little, and
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have now.
The fire will never die.
Yeah, but that is beautiful. I love that you had, despite everything, that you had that fire within you and you had that belief because despite everything, not everyone has that belief, like that they have to actually work with that. But that part you did have strongly.
Yes, Sana, I once had that conversation with my mom. You know, my mom and I were very, very troubled, but we loved each other. It was not about there was no love, but we just could not understand we couldn't live together. There was this constant battle. But I never forget, she once wrote me a little note where she said, uh, you had to fight ever since you were born for your life, and you will never stop fighting. Because I was born with 29 weeks, and I was like in 1970. It was kind of a miracle that I survived that. And so she said, you were, she said literally, you were born fighting. You will never stop fighting. This is what you should do. This is what you came to do in your life, is fighting.
Mm. Well, I do agree with her that you have that lioness fighter within you, uh, fueled with love though and
Yeah,
goodness.
absolutely.
So
I'm sorry.
yeah.
My dog is standing next to me with his toy, and I'm very distracted at the moment. Sorry.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Um, Gina, I mentioned to you that I have some questions that I ask my guests that are a little bit different from that you normally would maybe have in an interview. And I would love to now proceed with them.
Of course, just go.
All right. The first one, just mention, say whatever comes to mind, like, the first thing. I know that you are not prepared for this, not that you have been with anything else either when, with me, anything can come. But I would love to know something that you have learned to love that you didn't first want to do or that you didn't love at first.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. It's sitting in front of my camera and doing interviews and sharing my story just publicly and tell all the details of how miserable life once was.
I love that. And I have had the great pleasure of seeing your amazing journey of just shining your light and doing that, expressing yourself. It's been beautiful.
Thank you.
What's one of your core values?
I have a whole list with them, but one of my core values is like integrity, quality over quantity, responsibility, self-responsibility. How do you say it? Personal responsibility,
Mm,
um, to name a few. Freedom.
mm, beautiful ones. Love them.
Authenticity, of course, or not, or autonomy, or, you know, is that the right word? Autonomy, or
Yeah,
autonomy.
yeah.
Autonomy is something else. Autonomy.
You're asking another non-English speaker, so we can be like, anyone listening is like, what? What do they
What's
mean?
that was an RD.
Yeah. Oh, an insider thing came there. Um, when do you feel most like yourself?
Oh, actually, I'm always myself, but I am very um how do I say this in right English? Let me think. I can very much adapt to a situation and to an energy. Um, if I walk into a room, I smell the vibe. I don't have to talk to anyone. I smell it, even online. I just feel it. I just sense it. And so that's And even that is being me completely myself. I'm not going to pretend that I am a high vibe person if the situation is not right for me or the energy is not aligned for me. So I will not adjust to that in my presence. I will just be quiet or observing because I'm not going to hop on the bus not to be the different person in the room. Does that explain?
Yeah, yeah, that you are basically being yourself, like no matter where you are, and
Yeah,
being real and not adjusting to
yeah.
according to environment. I love that. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Uh, a travel memory that makes you laugh.
Oh, so many, so many.
You can choose one. I know
Oh,
that you have many.
oh my gosh. Well, I think, oh yeah, when I was in the US in 2018, I was with the first time with a group holiday. I was like determined to go to do this road trip from New Orleans to New York, go to Memphis to Washington, to all kinds of places. And there was a group of people that were so diverse, but there was one lady, and I start to laugh again. She was quite firm, and she was like not a type. I was with another, but she was younger than me, but we were good friends, became good friends during the trip. And we were in Washington at there was this pond, and there was this wall, and she was I cannot even tell it. She was lying over a little wall to feel the water. We took some pictures, and later on, we had such a laugh about it because it was such a ridiculous thing to see happening. Because she was not very tall, so she was very, very firm and very short. So her legs were doing like this when she was lying on the wall. And all these little things, you can only laugh at it because if you were there and you saw it. But we had such a hilarious time.
Oh, I love that. And I think it's so beautiful when there is that like personal memories and it's so imprinted in you that you instantly remember like a moment like that.
It's the same what we have, sometimes in a conversation that we start giggling about something and we can't stop, even if we
Yeah.
didn't say anything stupid, but
Yeah.
and that was the same sort of thing, and then, yeah,
Yeah. Those are the gems in life.
yes, yes.
A dream that you had when you were a child.
A dream that I had when I was a child, I think I was 5 years old, and there was a dream that kept coming back. And that was that if I talk about my family, it's not just my mom and my dad and my brother, it's like the whole family behind it. We went swimming in the river in the south of Holland, and they started to drown. And I was the only one who could save them. So I started to pull them out of the river. And the next night I would dream that I would go and visit them and to see how they're all doing. And that dream kept coming back every once in a while. And I still remember it so vividly, that dream.
Oh, wow. That was literally a dream, like that you shared. That is amazing that you actually had it that strong and it came like,
Yeah,
and I think it's very symbolic, like with thinking of your journey too.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
A trait that you love in a person.
A trait. Somebody asked me that recently. I love free people, who like I can be very timid so now and then, but I love the contrary of that, that people were very open and very exciting. And I do love that in people. They just speak their mind and um, can be loud and do their thing, and just enjoy themselves, have fun with themselves um, and laugh a lot. I love
Hmm.
if people have a good sense of humor.
Hmm. Love that. And now a question that came as an extra one, and that came from us having a little time before this interview began. And I said that you're number 5 of my conversations. And he said, of course I am. And I would love for you to say that what's so special with number 5 to you?
Well, the number 5 showed up last year, and well, my previous dog passed away on the 5th of September 2024, and that was a very, very black day for me. And then after that day, a lot of things started to happen, like my work was not going right, my practice was running on empty. Then my landlady said I needed to get out of the house, and I was like, what is going on? And of course, your first thoughts are everything's falling apart. And then I realized, no, everything is coming together because in Holland we have rent protection. So she needed to buy me out before I would leave that house. But in Amsterdam, it's a very big problem to find a new apartment or another house because the rents are very high and there are less houses to rent at the moment. So I was like, something needs to be arranged. So there was a lot of things at the same time going on. And by the time it was June, all the legal stuff was arranged. Somebody, a good friend, helped me with that, and they could tell me that I would get a new apartment around October. And so I decided, well, that's time for me to pack my stuff. I would end the rent in the old house, and I start to travel. And so I started to pack my stuff, and then I opened up a box, and there was this old little plastic plate I made when I was about to turn 5 years old. And but it had fallen on the floor, and it was split in 2 or 3 pieces. And while I was shoving it back together, I was like, huh? I was turning 55 2 weeks later, and I was looking at that plate. I have it here. And I, instead of practicing me turning 5, was a drawing that I made that my mom sent for us to make a plastic dinner plate. So there is 55, 2 or 3 times on it. Here is 55, my hands, 5s. There is this little house. There's the railroad for traveling. So while I shove it's back together, it was like, my whole story is in here.
Oh, I
So
love it.
it was so, yeah. And then the 4th of August, I turned 55. And then the next day, my dad on the 5th of August was admitted to the hospital, and he was admitted in room 55 as well. And well, this 55 is coming back so many times ever since that it's quite remarkable. And to be your number 5, let's celebrate this.
Absolutely. I am honored to have you as number 5 here. It's so meant to be. Oh, what is, Gina, something that is part of your best that is yet to come?
Ooh, well, I don't know. I think I'm very grateful. Even last year, a lot of things happened. My passing away from my dad, my dog, all this stuff that happened. I still feel very grateful. And the more I look back on my life story, the more beauty I find in it. And I think for me, the best is yet to come is to build something around that message, and to make sure that everything that I do is built from that even though when you start on the wrong foot, being born as a premature, unwanted, and so forth, you can still live a beautiful life. And for me, that's something that I want to create way more awareness of. Um, you know, I think that's my purpose, to build something for people who didn't find that yet. So I mean, that's very important.
Hmm, that is beautiful. Beautiful answer, Gina. Speaking of helping people, how can anyone who is listening now and wanting to reach out to you, maybe be part of your amazing group, getting help with your expertise in holistic health, how can they connect with you, learn more from you, be part of your world?
There is a link tree on my Facebook, but I can share it with you if you want it.
Yes.
They can book a free chat with me to explore some things. Of course, they're always welcome in my Facebook group. They're always welcome to send me a DM or to become Facebook friends. And if people want to work with me, they can also just book a chat. You know, it's like they're always welcome to reach out, always.
Amazing. We can put in the comments all your information, and then it's easy to connect with you through that. Um, do you have any words of inspiration, anything that you want to say as a final message to anyone listening?
Yeah, I have a few things that I want to say. It's like, you know, we're always talking about another diet, lifestyle changes, and all these things. You know, it's all on the surface. It's always fixing another symptom. And I think for those people who have tried it all and still have no change or no results, then there is way more to the situation than just fixing your food or anything else that you're trying to do. And if you don't find the help, ask somebody if they know anybody who could help you, because there will always be somebody out there that can reach you to help you. So that's one thing. And the other thing is if something feels off, your gut is always telling the truth. If something feels off, then probably it's off. Always listen to your gut.
Love those. Love those, Gina. That's an amazing way to end this. Except for I want to say that it's been just so beautiful to have you as a guest number 5, and you're a dear friend too. But we've been on this journey for a while now together, and I know how amazing your work is, and what a beautiful heart you have. So I encourage anyone who is feeling the call to connect and to reach out with Gina to do that. And don't be alone with anything that you're feeling in your body. Like Gina said, just listen to your gut and reach out for help, and there will always be some solution
Someone,
to,
there is
yeah.
always someone.
Yes.
Yeah, always.
Absolutely. And don't give up with if something is not working, then just know that there's something else that is working for you for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, thank you, Gina, so much for being here. And thanks for anyone taking time to listen. You find Gina's contact information in the comments. And I want to end this with what I always say, that remember that it's all within you. You got this, and your best is yet to come. Lots of love.
Thank you, Sana.
Thank you.